Hi everyone, welcome to my weekly messages. I'm Jelaila Star. Today the topic is what we can expect in the new economy and our new society, and it's not too late to create that now. The reason I'm doing this is because last week I said at the end of my weekly message that I would talk about the future, and when I sat down to write about it, there's really a lot to it. Much more than I can get into like one little message for the week. But anyway, I want to just touch on some things. Number one, you know, that for years the light workers have been working on this oneness and unity consciousness and creating a world where we're all one. And years ago, I wrote in numerous articles, you know, warning people, be aware of what you're asking for, because unless you're really clear about how you want it to look, you may create it, but it may not look exactly the way you wanted. So now what we're seeing is that this big push toward a one world government and a one world economy is now beginning to really take form. And the reevaluation of the currencies of 166 different countries around the world is part of that plan. So we are creating that one world of oneness and unity. But here's the thing: it can go either way. The global elite want to do that anyway, and they want to add to that everybody being microchipped, and, you know, via to a computer. In other words, everybody has a code, and you scan everything, so everybody's microchipped and controlled or linked to this computer as part of this new economic system. But we don't necessarily have to do it that way. We still have time to change it. And the way we can do that is to get very clear about what we are wanting, because I think that most of us do not want the kind of unity that the powers that be are planning on giving us, in which we give up all of our rights and most of our individuality to become part of the status quo. And they're going to use terrorism or the threat of terrorism as a way to keep everybody in line, because people are going to give up more and more of their power in order to be safe. And of course, who's going to safeguard them? The powers that be. But to do that, you got to give up pretty much everything. So we're going to become this homogenous society where people really don't have the right to disagree or have a difference of opinion. So how can we change it? How do we still have time? Well, we need to decide what it is that we do want. And a lot of people are not real sure about what they want. So I wanted to share with you what I pick up as something that I think would be good as far as a new society, including the new economic system. I think in the new reality or the new world that we're creating, we can still have a one world. We can also have a one currency, because one currency makes it so much easier to move around the globe and buy and sell and, you know, have commerce. But we don't have to be microchipped to some computer. We also don't have to give up our rights. But in order to not give up our rights, we must be willing to be totally empowered. So that means we have to eradicate the consciousness of victimhood. To do that, we all have to take responsibility for everything that happens to us. Yeah, not as easy as it sounds, but it is very possible. And to do that, we have to embrace a higher awareness. And we are starting to wake up and move toward that higher awareness. So it's very possible that we could achieve this. But here's what that higher awareness would look like. That we all remember that we are souls having a physical experience, not a physical body having an experience. We are souls. And as souls, we are here on this planet to learn and grow. To do that, we must experience challenges. We must create them, jump into them, and try to work them out, because that's how we souls grow. But to have these experiences, we have to interact with other souls. So before we become into this incarnation, we make contracts, soul contracts with different souls to play out different scenarios with us, to show us things that we're not seeing about ourselves. And in those situations, they could be the one playing the dark role and take away our power, or do something that would appear to be victimization. And we have to, be in the moment, jump into it, but then all of a sudden realize, oh, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. This is a setup. This is a lesson. I'm not going to point the finger and blame. I'm not going to sue this person. I'm going to take responsibility for co-creating this. So then my focus shifts to what is it that I really wanted to learn from this. And if we did that, we would almost eliminate lawsuits. Well, eventually they would be eliminated, because people would realize that the reason they enter into conflicts is because they want to learn something. So they are totally responsible for creating it. So after that, that means lawyers wouldn't have a job. So lawyers would go by the wayside. In fact, anything involving the threat of a lawsuit would go by the wayside. It would even affect real estate, insurance, all these things that we do to protect us from victimization, or, a lawsuit, which is a form of victimization. In addition to that, we would make it one of the most sought after things to be seen as an empowered, responsible person. They would give away Oscars for people who were the most responsible and honorable in society. And that would be more important and more precious and more sought after than beauty or fame. We would implement this in the schools. The kids would learn about being responsible, which means they learn about the higher perspective, about being a soul in lesson, and they would learn to negotiate and compromise. They would also be taught new financial skills. They would be taught to handle finances in a way that we were never taught, so that by the time they graduated, they would have the knowledge that only the children of the powers that be, the global elite, know once they reach adulthood. At that point, people wouldn't fear money anymore. They wouldn't hate it, and because they wouldn't make the mistakes that get them enslaved by it, because the wealthy don't get enslaved by it. They just use it. It's a tool. They use it as a tool. But we who are not financially literate are enslaved by the tool. That's why we don't like it. So even the kids, that for them, being the responsible kid, getting the award for being the most responsible, for the most honorable, would become the thing that they would seek over the things that we have today. So you can see that as we shifted to a higher consciousness and began to act out of that and implement new things in our schools and in our society that really promote that, you would see this shift happen very, very quickly. So we can make that happen. We just have to start doing it. So I'm calling upon all the light workers out there who watch this message, all the star seeds, all the walk-ins, that perhaps instead of fighting against what is being revealed about what the powers that be have done in the past, focus on what it is you really want and go for it. And what I want is that kind of society. So let's just keep going, keep awakening, and, keep calling on the best parts of who we are. And I think we'll get there. All right. Take care. Doggy, say goodbye. Bye.